As the dust settles on Carlos Alcaraz's Wimbledon, let's talk about what's making the rounds in the media and whether Carlos Alcaraz and Rafael Nadal are similar in any sense of the imagination, or whether they are completely different people and completely different tennis players. Yes, today we're going to delve deep into this comparison that a lot of people are making. Who's better, Rafa Nadal or Alcaraz at the age of 21? We're going to see if these comparisons are valid and if there is any truth to any of this. But yes, this is my channel, tennis channel. Make sure you continue to show love to it. Leaving a like, comment and subscribing will do a lot for me. And yeah, I'm trying to do more type of videos like this. Please leave in the comments what you guys want to see. Ultimately, I want to try and keep this towards you guys. But yes, today we're going to delve deep into the comparison of the two Spaniards, Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz, and whether there is anything to note. To start off with, let me just give my own opinion before we delve deep into the stats. Naturally, Nadal and Alcaraz are obviously going to be compared to each other as they're both Spanish, as they both are like dominating at such an early age. But off the bat, I feel like a lot of people are quickly like to compare Alcaraz and Nadal, obviously because they're alliances. But to be honest, from my thing, I don't see the comparisons as much as people do see them. They are completely different players in the sense one's left-handed, one's right-handed. They don't play a very, very similar style of game. And I feel like in terms of their surfaces, there is a similarity to be made because I feel like both of their favourite surfaces are clay. But I think as a tennis nation, we are so quick to jump upon comparisons when we see a player from a similar country and kind of like a similar passion to what a certain player has. And I think I don't dislike it, but I just think it puts unreasonable pressure on the player. For Alcaraz's case, of course, he can handle that pressure. We've seen how ridiculously good he is. But let's delve deep into the accolades at the age of 21 and where both players sit. So as you can see, these are Alcaraz's accolades. These are Rafa Nadal's accolades. What's quick to note is how much Alcaraz has done on 3 different surfaces. He's 1 slam away from completing the Golden Slam, the Candace Slam. But Rafa Nadal, he was in an era where it was so difficult to get anywhere near a Wimbledon title, anywhere near a hardcourt title, because he had a certain Roger Federer playing at one of his peaks of his powers. I think when you add that context into it, and in my opinion, I think Nadal and Alcaraz at this current stage, the age of 21, are extremely similar on grass. The reason I say this is because Nadal, at the age of 21, was starting to build up a lot of momentum on grass and lost a few finals. But for Alcaraz, the path for his greatness is a lot easier than what Nadal had. Federer was on a run of winning 5 Wimbledons in a row, and he had to compete with that. Whereas Alcaraz obviously had to compete with a Novak Djokovic, who of course was on a ridiculously good run, but I don't think it's at the same level that Roger Federer was on. Another important note to make is also the world #1 accolades compared to Rafa Nadal. And you can also fuse that into a certain Roger Federer as well, being around, smashing every single world #1 record, calendar record. And that ultimately, I believe, helped Rafa go even more higher in terms of levels. Whereas Alcaraz, obviously Djokovic was injured for a few months in some of the times when he was one-on-one. Of course, he did a ridiculous feat to play that, but Djokovic was not playing every single tournament. So adding this context in and not solely looking at stats makes it a lot more of a holistic view. But here's what I would say though about Carlos Alcaraz at his current age. I believe he has more tools than Rafa Nadal does at this current age comparison. If the pandemic did not hit, and obviously that was a huge thing that kind of halted Alcaraz's development to get that next step, that stopped a lot of Alcaraz's growth, but you can still see he's won 3 slams, 4 slams, and it's not, to me, this is a very tight, and I might be contradicting myself a bit, but overall, as a 21-year-old, the levels Alcaraz is showing to win 4 slams at the age of 21 and being one away from winning all 4 slams. He's already won the surface slam. That already indicates to me that he has reached the levels that Nadal didn't hit at that age. So he's obviously has more tools than Rafa Nadal does. But here's where I get confused, because Nadal had to play in an era where Roger Federer was in his prime, and that ultimately halted his allowance for him to get world number 1, win Wimbledon, and obviously try and get onto hard courts. So it's a double-edged sword, whichever way you put it. But Alcaraz, in my opinion, as a player, has a lot more tools than Rafa Nadal does. I think as a tennis nation, we are so quick to serenade people before they have matured. Don't get me wrong, at the age of 21, he is so similar in the sense to Rafa Nadal in terms of accomplishments, but in terms of overall game style, they're completely different players, and this comparison doesn't have much merit to it, in my opinion. If you were comparing him to more of a Novak Djokovic in the sense of his style, I can hear it, but obviously Djokovic matured at a different age compared to Alcaraz. I think we're so excited to see someone at such a young age play at the level Alcaraz has made. Obviously, Alcaraz is a world-class player, but I feel like he is so loved by the media, the fans, the locker room, everybody, and the reason is because a certain guy was also like that. The tenacity, the fierce fight, it all boils down to that. Let me know if you guys think we're seeing the next Rafa Nadal. Make sure you comment on what you guys think, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.